Hare Krishna. Vaishana Mataji ki jai, Amit ki jai. Hare Krishna, welcome. Both of you. Are you well? Amit, how are you?
Yes, very well. Thank you. Very well.
Very well. That is even better than well. That is wonderful. Thank you so much. And Vaishana Mataji, how are you?
Yes, fine.
Fine?
Yes, I'm doing okay.
Okay, just okay. So there is room for improvement, I guess so.
Yes.
Okay, Hare Krishna. So let's start off with a little bit of Kirtan, just to get some invocation. Nama Vishnu Vadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Giridvaradhari Jaya Giridvaradhari Gopi Janavallabha Jaya Giridvaradhari Jaya Giridvaradhari Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Praja Dhanaranjana Jaya Yashoda Nandana Jaya Praja Dhanaranjana Jaya Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Jai Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Nitai Satchishundara Nitai Satchishundara Nitai Satchishundara Jaya Nitai Satchishundara Jaya Nitai Satchishundara Nitai Satchishundara Nitai Satchishundara Oh Nitai Satchishundara Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jai Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jai Prabhupada Prabhupada Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Gurudev. Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem Se Go Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath, Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Shri Giri Govardhana ki jai, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Shri Navadvip Maya Pudam ki jai, Ganga Maya Yamuna Maya ki jai, Tulasi Devi Tulasi Maharani ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktarinda ki jai, Gaura Premanandi. Hare Krishna, welcome Amit, welcome Rashika, and welcome Vaishana Kishori Mataji. Hare Krishna. It is wonderful of having you all here tonight. So I'm Rashika. I'm happy you are here because we'll talk some quite important points. We will go through our quiz from last time and where things have gone wrong, where things have gone right. Amit, you weren't there, so we'll adjust accordingly. Are you well, Rashika?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe you want to unmute yourself and we will go to our chapter 2, quiz 1. So 1 moment. Here we go. Loading up. I hope so. Not loading up. Yes, here it is. So what I like to remember that quiz. Prakash was there. He cannot come. He has a big headache tonight. Rashika was there. Vaishana Kishori was there. Amit, you weren't there. There was a question here. That we can skip to do the exercise. Happiness and distress come and go like. That was Bhagavad Gita. Oh, sorry, I'll have to share my screen. Maybe that might be helpful. Or should I mute you for the moment? I will share my screen. You can see where we are. Right? So we're looking at that question, happiness and distress come and go like. All three got it wrong. Winter, day and night. Let's look, Vaishana Kishori, what was the problem? Also, winter is correct. You are still missing the summer, winter and summer seasons. Matra Sparshas to Kaunteya. Krishna doesn't speak of day and night at all. Also, it really illustrates the same concept of coming and going. Same thing, winter and summer, day and night, both are coming and going, but that is not what Krishna actually says. Krishna says, O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and the disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. So very clearly, winter and summer. They arise from sense perception or sign of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them. Important word, tolerate them, without being disturbed. There is another version, one must try to tolerate, learn to tolerate, almost the same thing. So, Vaishana Mataji, will you remember that for the future? Come and go like winter and summer season. Matra sparshas to counter. Prakash wasn't here. Rashika, same thing. You say winter and summer, which is great, but not day and night. That is not same what we just said. That's not really there. So going to the next question. After liberation, the soul merges into Brahman. Big question, very important question. Vaishana Mataji, after liberation, the soul merges into Brahman. Yes, Vaishana Mataji, that was a correct answer. It is false. The answer was false. It was true or false. So we don't merge into. Prakash got that wrong. Rashika, you got that correct. Very good. I'm really proud of you. You do understand we don't merge into Brahman. But Prakash, we never merge into Brahman. This is an impersonal or Mayavada concept. Sayuchya Mukti. Sayuchya Mukti means merging into the Brahman effulgence of the Lord. We, as devotees, as Vaishnavas, we may accept the other muktis, Salokya Mukti, living on the same planet with the Lord, Samipya Mukti, and so on. But devotees will never accept Sayuchya Mukti of merging with the Lord. But because once we are merged with Krishna, there is no question of devotional service. Finished. We are merged. We are one with Krishna in the Brahmajyoti. So service, devotional service and loving exchanges comes in when we are distinct from Krishna. We are here, Krishna, and Krishna is there, and there is exchange of relationship, of love, of emotion, and so on. And how we spoke about that last time, one verse, only one verse in Bhagavad Gita 2:12 highlights that concept. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Krishna is speaking that verse. So he says, in the past you were individual, I've always been individual, you have always been individual, Arjuna. In the past, now we are individual, in the future we'll also be individual, and all these kings, all the soldiers on the battlefield, they're also individuals. So that is a very distinctive and important philosophical concept. The question could be asked, very interesting question, what's the difference between an impersonalist and a Mayavadi? Who can say? Vaishana Kishori, what's the difference? I mean, we know what's a personalist, a devotee. He has his lovable Lord, Krishna, and the exchange of love and devotional service is going on. Devotee tries to please Krishna, and Krishna tries to please his devotees. We have read that in the Bhagavatam, we have read that throughout. But what is an impersonalist? Because I'm asking, because that concept is very widely, the misconcept is widely within the Hindu community, Indian community. This is widely, the impersonal idea is so strongly there. So, Vaishana Kishori, what's an impersonalist?
Would I be correct to say somebody who doesn't believe that there is a God, or believes in demigods and so on?
You don't come over quite clear. Say that again. Can you come a bit closer?
Sorry. Would I
Yes.
be correct to say that somebody who doesn't believe that there is a supreme God and somebody
Yes.
who believes this on demigods and or in Brahman.
Yes, yes. Very often, impersonalists may accept some demigods. But what? That's a question for anybody. What could we call an impersonalist? It's a jnani, right? Someone in search for knowledge. Not someone who is not a devotee. A jnani is not a devotee. He is only interested in knowledge. He's not interested in Krishna. Of course, Krishna is knowledge, so he is close by, but not quite. And what happens to a jnani? What is his future? What is his... he pursues that impersonal knowledge. So what is his future? Amit, what do you think? A jnani, a philosophical speculator, you could say. I'm stressing that because this is a very important point and concept, which is easily to get it wrong. What is the future of a jnani according to Bhagavad Gita? Rashika.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Who wants to speak first?
I was just going to say he will not go back to Godhead.
No, he will not. He will
He
not.
will have to take rebirth again.
Yes. How many times?
Oh, as many as possible, I think.
But as many as possible. That's an interesting answer. As many as possible. Any Rashika, how many births he has to take? He's not going back home to God at a jnani. Only a devotee is going back to the spiritual sky, Vaikuntha or Goloka. So what's the verse? Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavam mam prapadyante vasudeva sarvam iti sa mahatma sudurlabha. After many birth and death, he who is in knowledge, and that's a jnani. The jnani has many times take birth again and many times dying again. Then he comes to real knowledge. Eventually, if he is sincere, and once he gains real knowledge, that knowledge means he comes to the point that Krishna is actually everything. Vasudeva Sarvam iti. Vasudeva is Krishna, Sarvam, everything. So he understands after many births and searching for the truth. He's not searching for Krishna, he's searching for the truth. So he's very close by her, but not quite there yet. So after many births, he understands that Krishna is everything, and then he surrenders to Krishna, and then Krishna says, Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Such a soul is very rare. So that is a real Mahatma. Not any politician who calls himself Mahatma, or so many Mahatmas, people call themselves Mahatmas or call others. No. The only true definition for Mahatma is just that is a devotee who has surrendered to Krishna. And that's very rare, a Mahatma. Very rare. So what then is the difference from such a jnani, philosophical speculator, impersonalist, to a Mayavadi? What's a Mayavadi? Anyone? Amit, Rashika, Vaishnav, what's a Mayavadi? We hear that so many times throughout Srila Prabhupada, about every second page. It's something bad because Srila Prabhupada condemns the Mayavadis. But what is it? How would we define Vaishnav? Your microphone is on, so I'm calling on you. What's a Mayavadi?
Is it that who does not believe that the Krishna is the Supreme Personality?
Well, the jnani doesn't also accept Krishna as a Supreme Personality. The only devotee accepts. But that's no more than that. What is a Mayavadi? The word gives it away. Maya, Vad. Vad
Well,
means path.
One who believes in the path of liberation in a different way from what we call devotional
Okay.
service.
Okay. What way then? Let's clarify it. In what way does he believe?
It's probably different from what we believe.
Yeah. What's the difference? I don't let you escape like that such easily.
I don't really know. I can't pinpoint exactly.
The Mayavadi, yes, they will merge. They want to merge into Brahma Jyoti. They want to give up their individuality, but more than that, and that's very important. They don't believe in the personal, transcendental form of Krishna. They say God has no hands, God has no legs, God has no eyes, God has no ears, God has no mouth. Now, if I tell you, Vaishana Kishori, Vaishana Mataji, she has no hands, no legs, she has no ears, she cannot hear, she cannot speak, what does it make you?
Oh, nothing.
That makes you dumb and deaf and disabled, and so that is an offense. That's important. How would you or anybody of us like if someone says, "Oh, Gauranga Sundara, he's dumb, he's deaf," and it's not very nice. It's not. That's an offense, because Gauranga Sundara is not dumb and he's not deaf, and he has hands and he has legs, and so on. So therefore, the Mayavadis are condemned. They're offenders. They not only don't understand the personal form of the Lord, what kind of innocently they're after knowledge, and they haven't really come to the point of understanding that Krishna is everything. Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. And they have not surrendered to Krishna. But the Mayavadis, they have absolutely no chance, because they're offenders of the Lord, and the Lord says he throws them into the lower species of life, into hellish life, again and again and again. So they have basically, they're opposed to bhakti, they're opposed to Krishna, they're opposed to devotional service, and they have no chance really until perhaps a devotee, by his causeless mercy, gives them with a shining light of knowledge, gives them some knowledge and say, surrender. That has happened in history, that Mayavadis became staunch devotees of the Lord. But it's easier for an impersonalist. Even so, after many births and deaths, impersonalists can become devotees easily. Okay, so that is Bhakta, that is impersonalist, or Jnani, and that is a Mayavadi. We know the story of Lord Chaitanya. Mayavadis usually say studying Vedanta Sutra very carefully. So that's very their favorite study of Vedanta. Who played the role as a Mayavadi? Seemingly. Who played the role as a Mayavadi and spread this philosophy throughout India and far. And even today, many people picking it up. Rashika, you're so quiet today. Amit, who is spreading this Mayavad doctrine? Who has been spreading this Mayavad doctrine?
Is it not Sri Prabhupada?
Srila Prabhupada has spread Mayavad doctrine? No, you couldn't go more wrong than that. Hare Krishna, I'm sorry. Because Srila Prabhupada is spreading bhakti. Srila Prabhupada is not saying Krishna has no hands, no legs, he's dumb and deaf. He's not saying that. So, Shankaracharya, you heard that name, Shankaracharya? Who is Shankaracharya? After Buddha, then next one was Shankaracharya. Acharya, yes. Who is Shankaracharya? Vaishnava.
Actually, I think I sometimes get mixed up because I thought Shankaracharya was the guru of the demons, wasn't he?
No, that is Shukracharya.
Or Shukracharya. Okay. Then I
So
don't
who
know.
is Shankaracharya? Shankaracharya is an incarnation of Lord Shiva. So why did he spread the Mayavad doctrine? Because, let's go one step back to Buddha, Lord Buddha, and of course Lord Buddha is an incarnation of Krishna, that we know. So Lord Buddha, he said, forget about the Vedas. He dismissed the Vedas. Why? Because people in general were taking the Vedas as an excuse for meat eating and gratifying their tongue and gorging themselves on meat, even cows. So how did they justify that? They said, in the Vedas, it is said animal sacrifice can be performed, which is true. Not anymore in today's world, because there are no qualified Brahmins who can chant the mantras. So in the Vedas, there is written animal sacrifice. There is a place for animal sacrifice. So the people in general, they took advantage of that. They picked, like usual, people picking out something which they like and then blowing that up in big. And they don't take everything. They just choose and pick. Choose and pick. Like a meal. Choose and pick. So then Lord Buddha put an end to that. Because this Vedic sacrifice is mentioned in the Vedas, which indeed an animal was sacrificed in a yagya, in a sacrifice. Why? Just to see that this sacrifice has been, the mantras have been chanted successfully. Because what happened after an animal has been sacrificed in the yagya, the animal came out of the sacrificial fire with a rejuvenated, new, young body. So, and if not, then the yagya is not successful and the mantras haven't been chanted properly. But that goes a long, long time back. There are no more Brahmins that qualified who can chant these mantras. Therefore, in our age, animal sacrifice is forbidden. And people took advantage, not for yagya. They took the excuse, it's written in the Vedas, for sense gratification, for the satisfaction of their palate and their tongue. So many animals were killed on a ground basis with the excuse, it's in the Vedas, we're following the Vedas. Then Lord Buddha couldn't bear that. And Lord Buddha, actually, incarnation of Krishna, he specifically came for that purpose, to put an end to that. Because the animals are dear to the Lord as we are, as all living entities. So Krishna has compassion, even for the animals, not just for the humans. So Lord Buddha, he had to come up with something to persuade the people away from animal sacrifice. And he had a very cunning plan. Now listen to that. There's a very wonderful plan which the Lord has devised. The people took excuse of the Vedas. So Buddha said, forget about the Vedas. We don't accept the Vedas. Okay, one excuse is gone. But follow me. Follow me, forget about the Vedas. And stop killing animals. Ahimsa. There where ahimsa comes from. Well, actually, it's not comes from, but it has amplified. So Lord Buddha came to stop the animal slaughter by denying the Vedas, by telling them there is no God. Forget about the Vedas. There is no God. Follow me, but don't kill animals. So Lord Buddha attracted all these atheistic people, because if you tell an atheist there is no God, the atheist will be very happy. Oh, I always thought that. Oh, thank you. Now you're saying it also. Oh, I like your philosophy. So that is exactly what happened. So Krishna had to deny his own Vedas in order to get this atheistic population away from performing animal sacrifice on behalf of the Vedas. And they followed him. Actually, Lord Buddha cheated the atheists. How? He said there is no God, but he was God. Just see how Krishna is working. God himself says there is no God, just to give the people a chance to connect with him and to follow him, even though he is God himself. That is cheating. That is cheating. You're saying there is no God and follow me, and he is God. He's an incarnation of the Lord. So, okay, that was Buddha. After Lord Buddha, the Vedas were not established. The Vedas were rejected. That philosophy of Buddhism has spread far and wide in India and beyond. It has replaced the Vedic philosophy. So how to get people back to the Vedas? To get them back to the Vedas in one step is too much. So Krishna sent Lord Shiva as Shankaracharya, who accepted the Vedas again. He didn't say, okay, there is God and he's Krishna, and that would have been too much a step. People couldn't do that. Therefore, Shankaracharya's philosophy and his intention was, no, follow the Vedas, but God is impersonal. That is halfway in between, right? God is impersonal. So he propagated the impersonal philosophy. But he brought the people back to the Vedas, and he explained in so many ways, with so many arguments, and Vedanta Sutra, and so on and so on. So how to get the people then from this impersonal and Mayavad philosophy back to original path of Krishna consciousness? Well, Srila Prabhupada came, and before Srila Prabhupada, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and all these Vaishnava acharyas, starting even from Madhvacharya, and so on, which all of them propagated the personal understanding of God. The Vedas, yes, everything is based on the Vedas, but God is not impersonal. God is personal, but not in a human body like we are, in a human-like body, which is transcendental. So a whole circle, and crowned by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So there is a little story of when Benares, Varanasi, who has been to Varanasi? Rashika, Vashana, you have been to Varanasi, to Benares?
Yes, I stayed there 7 days.
Okay. Varanasi is the capital of the Mayavadis.
Oh,
There are loads of impersonalists and Mayavadis there. So Varanasi is that place where they're all gathered. So Lord Chaitanya was a freshly new and young sannyasi when he visited Varanasi. Varanasi is an old Vedic name of Benares. What is it called today? Is it Varanasi again? The British gave Benares, I believe so. Whichever. So, when the Mayavad sannyasis, they were all sannyasis studying Vedanta under Prakashananda Saraswati. He was a leader of the Mayavadis. They lived very austere, Very austere, no comforts, nothing. Lots of fasting and studying Vedanta Sutta. 1 meal a day, maximum. A few hours of sleep. So very austere, very austere. And when they saw Lord Chaitanya doing his Sankirtan in Varanasi, they're starting to criticize. Look, he's sannyasi. He's just a sentimentalist. Why doesn't he come and join us? Why doesn't he study Vedanta as we do? That's a real thing. Vedanta studying. And he is just a sentimental person, and he's attracting other sentimental people. And so once a devotee heard this criticism of the beloved Lord Chaitanya, say, became very unhappy. If you hear someone criticizing someone who is very dear to you, you would also feel unhappy. We all would feel unhappy. If someone would start criticizing Amit or Vaishana or Rashika, I would feel very unhappy. I will not let that happen. I will put that person into place immediately. So devotees were very unhappy, and they went to Lord Chaitanya and told him about the unhappiness. And they said, why don't you meet these sannyasis? How many disciples is Prakashananda Saraswati? 10,000. So, lots of Mayavadi sannyasis. Eventually, a meeting was arranged between Lord Chaitanya and Prakashananda Saraswati and all the Mayavad sannyasis. And when Lord Chaitanya arrived, he, in a very humble way, he just sat down where the shoes were kept at the entrance. But he was so effulgent that immediately some of the sannyasis and Prakashananda as well, he said, no, my dear sir, please come and take your place amongst us. Don't sit on this dirty place. And so Lord Chaitanya, in a very humble way, accepted and sat with the sannyasis. And then they're starting asking him, why do you not study Vedanta like we do? Why are you engaging in this Sankirtan? It's all sentimental. It's only sentiment. You're spoiling your sannyas. You're a young sannyasi, and we can teach you. And then a conversation ensued, and then eventually Lord Chaitanya explained the real meaning of Vedanta. And with all the arguments, they thought he was not learned. Lord Chaitanya was the most learned. He was Nimai Pandit before. He defeated the Pandit, the Kashmiri Pandit, Keshava Kashmiri, who was the most learned person in all of India at that time. And Lord Chaitanya was just a youth. So in that meeting, Lord Chaitanya explains the real meaning of Vedanta. And they were struck with the result that all Prakashananda and his 10,000 disciples all became devotees of the Lord. That's a lot. 10,000 committed Mayavad sannyasis became bhaktas. They became devotees, and they started chanting and dancing with Lord Chaitanya. That was a transformation in Varanasi which nobody has ever seen before. Of course, that's the power of Lord Chaitanya. He can do that. We may not be able to do that. So, that is that story. Even by the Lord's mercy, a die-hard Mayavadi can be converted into a bhakta, a devotee of the Lord. That's why I tell and told this story. So it's not impossible that the Mayavadi is eternally condemned. By the mercy of the Lord or of a devotee of the Lord, he can be enlightened. And by the way, Lord Shiva, we may ask, why did Lord Shiva, as Shankaracharya, propagated this Mayavad philosophy? Well, one reason we have already heard, that to bring people back to the Vedas in some baby steps. And he knew very well after him Lord Chaitanya would come and makes a final step to Krishna Bhakti. But at the end of his earthly pastimes, Shankaracharya said one important verse, and you may want to remember that. Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, and so on. So, all throughout his pastimes, he has propagated Mayavad philosophy, and at the end he says, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, which translates, you fools and rascals, sir, do you think, and he spoke to his followers, do you think you can attain liberation by word jugglery and grammatical twisting? That's what they're doing with the Vedanta. They're making interpretations that suits them and suits their conclusions that God is impersonal, he has no hands, he has no legs, and so on. So, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, you fools and rascals, just chant Bhajan, just chant the name of Govinda. So at the end, he gave a very clear indication. Give up all your grammatical word jugglery and become Bhaktas. Chant the name of Govinda. 3 times he says it. So actually, Shankaracharya, he was a Vaishnava. And we respect Shankaracharya very much. But he has had to play a role in capturing the atheists like Lord Buddha and brings them back to the Vedas. So that is everything about Bhakta, devotee, impersonalist or Jnani after many births and deaths, he surrenders, and Mayavada as an offender of the Lord. So, okay. Any questions? If not, we go a little further. Everybody got that wrong last time. So fall down, put into the right order. Bhagavad Gita 262 to 63. Right? What's the right order? Let me minimize that. Here is the right order.
Was it
Huh?
first you contemplate?
Yes, then?
And then you get the attachment.
Yes.
And then you feel the lust that you definitely wanted. And then
So after attachment, the lust, yes, and then?
Then it turns into anger.
Yes. So your answer was last time, it starts from lust. And then contemplation of the senses and of the sense on sense objects, then anger, then attachment. So the wrong way around, mixed up. Same thing for Rashika, lust, contemplation on senses, anger. You got actually the same mixed up answers like Vaishana. Okay, enough. That was that question. And then it goes further in the next verse to fall down the last 4 steps. And everybody got that wrong as well because you didn't look at 263 of Bhagavad Gita. What's the right order then? From anger.
I can
yes?
answer it's delusion. First you become
yes?
deluded.
Yes.
Right. And then it affects the memory. Is it bewilderment or?
Yes, bewilderment of memory.
And then that causes the loss of intelligence. And
yes.
you come to the material platform.
Yes, that's the correct order. Okay, enough of that. And everybody got that next question wrong again. The soul can never be, that is from Bhagavad Gita 2:23. Would you have known that, Amit? The verse says, the soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. You got some right, but not all. Cut to pieces, Rashika. Burned, Rashika, you missing burned by fire. So you want to remember that. 4 things. Never cut into pieces. No burned by fire, no moistened by water, no withered by the wind.
But you
Famous
know,
verse.
a question like this, when you say there's more than one answer, well, we're not sure. We're in a state of panic, and you're trying to read 4 sentences, but you don't know which
Right.
ones. Are you actually saying, okay, I think the answers are all 4, but I thought we were only supposed to tick 2. Otherwise,
No.
we'd be wrong.
It was a multi-selector. There are some questions which are multi-select. You can select any up till 4. Answers can be right. It can be a multi-select, and it says it on the Kahoot. Multi-selector. Either one answer can be right, 2, 3, or all 4. Yes, you were
We don't know
confused.
that. I think there's a confusion there. We don't know whether we're supposed to tick all 4, or we think, well, if we tick 4, well, that would be unfair, because that way you're going to get one of them right. So it doesn't make sense.
Right, you are thinking like that. Yes, I understand now.
So
but
unless
if there
you
are...
tell us that, okay, there are 2 answers, well, that's fair enough. Then we can choose 1 or 2 and get something wrong. But this way, if you expect us to tick all of them, then that's not going to make sense, is it?
But if you know the verse, then it makes total sense, isn't it? If you know the verse, the soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. And you see all these 4 answers, so you would click them, wouldn't you?
No, because I would expect that you're expecting us to just tick 1, like burnt by fire or the main 2.
Right. That is a misunderstanding.
I would not expect, to tick everything, because then there's no point in doing the exercise.
Okay. Next time we know. If there is a multi-selector, it can be 1, correct, 2, 3, or all 4. Okay. Let's move on. And I will make it a bit more clear when I will tell it's a multi-select, but it's written there, multi-selector. What about the next one? Those who are wise don't lament for the living or for the dead. Marshana, correct. Rashika, for the living, for the dead, for loss of property, defeat in battle, you selected all 4. No. It nowhere does that say for loss of property. It says, Krishna says, never says defeat in battle or loss of property. What does he say? Bhagavad Gita 2:11. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worth of grief. Now it's the important part. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. That's all what Krishna says. He doesn't speak about property, and he doesn't speak about defeat in battle. But if we don't know that verse, then we start speculating. Hare Krishna. Okay, you get it, right?
Yes.
Next, we are eternally individuals. Vaishna Kishori, you got that. It was a true or false. Rashika, why didn't you get that? Do you think we are not eternally individuals? What we are then? If we are not individuals, what are we? Rashika. What was your thought on that? Why did you say we are not eternally individuals?
I thought that it's for Lord Krishna, that there's not a time when he didn't exist. So I thought it's the God which is eternal.
We are also eternal. We are eternal spirit souls. Our body is not eternal, but the soul is eternal. So that's important to understand. We as a soul are eternal. Our body is not eternal. Krishna's body is eternal because he has a spiritual or transcendental body, but ours not. So what is a Bhagavad Gita verse? We are individuals as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, because if we think we are not individuals, we might think we are merging after liberation. The verse we just spoke about, it never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. Write that verse on your forehead. that verse is saying we are always individuals. There is no, never is there, was there, or will be a time when we just merge with God. We are always individuals. Okay, let's move on. Everything else was correct. Rashika, there was one. Happiness and distress come like, same, we had said before, winter and summer season. You don't need to speak. Like the all-pervading wind. Where you get that from? That's not from Bhagavad Gita. You made it up. There is somewhere in Bhagavad Gita, you're quite right, somewhere there is saying like the all-pervading winds. That is somewhere, but that's in a different context.
Right.
Okay, next. Changing one's body. A sober person is not bewildered is the answer. Next, all correct. We're going to correct. Prakash got said wrong. Energy manifest. That's again, that is an impersonalist argument. And I want to speak a minute on that. Someone sent me a video, maybe you got that also, of some gentleman wants to open a Bhagavad Gita university and with gurus and speaking of gurus and all over the world, and Bhagavad Gita going to spread in the next 5-10 years with so many gurus. And so I thought, let's listen to what he has to say. And right 1 minute in, 2 minutes into his talking, he says, energy manifests in human form and talks. So what kind of statement is that? Energy, basically it's an impersonal argument that God is energy originally, is not a transcendental spiritual personality, he's energy. And when he comes to this material world, he manifests in a human form, in a material form. There are plenty of people who think when Krishna came 5,000 years ago, because he looked like a human-like body, like we have. So people are mistaken and think he is just a human, like you and me, maybe a little bit more powerful. And no, that's not the case. So 2 mistakes. Krishna, energy manifests. No, Krishna is never energy. He has energies. He's always an individual and a person. So first mistake. And then he manifests in a human form. No, he's not manifesting in a human material form. We could say he's manifesting in a human-like form. He talks. Yes, of course he talks. That is, at least he got that wrong. So how can an argument, Krishna as a young, small child, he lifted Govardhan Hill with his left hand. The left hand is a weaker hand. Right hand is a stronger. And not only with the left hand, with the little finger of his left hand. So how can any human form lift an entire hill with a little finger on his left hand? It's not possible. Or kill the Putanovich, or kill Agasura, or kill Trinavarta, or kill Kamsa, or show his universal form. That's not possible. That is not a human form. So whoever says he manifests in human form, he doesn't know the glories and the opulences of Krishna. It's not a human form. It looks like human, but he has immense power, all the powers of God. So that needs to be said. Okay, then that was a question not specially from the second chapter, but important. Everybody got that wrong. The right order. What is the right order? Vaishana or Rashika? Of the four Vishnus, or Amit, if you know. What is the right order of the Vishnus? Which is the first Vishnu? Of course, first there is Krishna, right? Some people have that misconception, or let's put it like that, within the Indian community, the Hindu community, there is this misconception that Krishna is an incarnation of Vishnu. Right? Is Krishna an incarnation of Vishnu, Rashika? Did you hear that before?
No.
It was widespread. Vaishana, did you hear people saying
Yes,
Krishna is...
we were taught as children that although Krishna is there, but the supreme is Vishnu. So Krishna comes from Vishnu.
Yes,
so there was quite
exactly.
Confusion till I came.
Yes, that is very, very widespread. Krishna comes from Vishnu. It's actually true in a sense, because all the incarnations coming through Vishnu, Varaha, Vamana, Nrsimha, all the incarnations, Kurma, Matsya, they come through Vishnu. But Vishnu is just a doorway. What was before Vishnu? Like someone comes into the door. Where was a person before? He wasn't just coming out of the door frame or whatever. He was in another room before, and he entered the door, and you think, oh, he's generated by the door. No, he's not generated by the door. He's just using the door. He comes from somewhere else. So all incarnation of Krishna coming through Vishnu, and Krishna is the original Supreme Personality, but when he comes as Krishna and to perform his pastimes, he also takes that same door where Nrsimhadev, where Varaha and Matsya and Kurma have walked through. So he just follows the same doorway. That's all. But Krishna has been there before Vishnu, because Bhagavad Gita and Vedas clearly and Bhagavatam clearly tell us that Krishna expands himself in the different Vishnu forms or Purusha avatars. So what is the correct order? Who can say? Vaishana, you say the first was Garbhodakasha Vishnu, then Krishna, then Karnakasha, mixed up.
No, it's Krishna and then Karanadakshayi, yeah?
Which is Mahavishnu, yes. He lies on the causal ocean.
Yeah, where he expands and by the pores I don't know, something about the pores anyway.
But the pores, all the universe is coming out of his pores and out of his breathing.
Yes, that's
not the planets, the universes.
Yeah, and then Garbhodakshaya, Vishnu, who is in the ocean, right?
Which ocean? Where does he lie?
In the, I don't know.
In the Garbhodaka ocean. Where is this Garbhodaka ocean? There where he gets his name from.
Garbha.
He lies actually at the bottom of the universe. The universe is like a round sphere. It's like a huge balloon. And in the universe is all the planetary systems and all the galaxies and the Milky Way and the planets and the sun and the earth, all within the universe. But the universe itself is also a round sphere. And Garbhodakasha Vishnu lying down at the bottom of that sphere, and by his sweating, don't ask me why he is sweating, that I don't know, but it is mentioned by his sweat, he creates a Garbhodaka ocean, on which he lays down on Ananta Shesha. Very simple. He is a maintainer of the entire universe, and he lays down in each and every of the innumerable universes. So
does he create everything just by his mere glance? isn't there?
That is a
Something
Mahavishnu.
about his-
That is a Mahavishnu, or the Karana Dakashai Vishnu. Karana means causal ocean. He lies on the causal ocean, huh? And we have seen a picture where Vishnu lies there, and out of his pores coming all the universes in seed form and expanding, what scientists call the Big Bang now. But they don't know what was before the bang or where the bang is coming there. It's very incomplete knowledge. Maybe
So what's the
they...
difference between the causal ocean and the Garbhodakshaya ocean, where he's at the bottom?
The causal ocean with Karnataka Vishnu, it's outside of the universe. The universes haven't been created at that time. He's just lying down there in space. And out of his pores, then coming, the universe is coming out from him by his breathing. And they're going back into him by his inward breathing and coming out with a huge time span in between. So, and then he expands himself into each of his breathing universes. That's a difference, right?
Right.
Big difference. He's breathing out the universes, he's expanding himself into each and every universe. And then it comes the Kshirataka Vishnu.
Yeah.
Right? And this is a Vishnu through which all incarnations come.
And is he the Paramatma and the super soul who
Yes.
is in our bodies?
Yes. And he who is also the super soul in each and every atom.
Right.
So it's not actually that surprising that all the incarnations don't come through Mahavishnu. He has a different business to do, nor through Garbhodakashai Vishnu. Garbhodakashai Vishnu is the Vishnu where the demigods go and doing their Purusha Shukta prayers on the Garbhodaka ocean. I believe so. Or maybe it's Svetadvip. I don't know. I would have to look it up. But the Kshirataka Vishnu, that last Vishnu, he is the Paramatma in each and every atom in the heart of all living entities. That may sound all very technical, but it is kind of good and important to know. And the most important bit to remember on all of that with the Vishnus is that before the different incarnations or avatars come through Kshirataka Vishnu, Krishna expanded himself into these Vishnus. There was Krishna. So it is very incomplete knowledge. Krishna is an incarnation of Vishnu. It appears like, but the Vishnus are expansions of Krishna. It's not contradictory. It's quite very clear that Krishna expands himself in the first Vishnu, second Vishnu, third Vishnu, and then all the incarnations coming through the third Vishnu, and Krishna himself comes also through the third Vishnu. And people be so poor fond of knowledge think, oh, Krishna is an incarnation of Vishnu. Yes, he comes through Vishnu. And in a sense, he is an incarnation of Vishnu, but before that Vishnu, there was Krishna. So that is important to remember. Hare Krishna. Very nice. Okay, I'd be tempted, I don't know if I should do it, but I would be tempted when we speak about the four principles. Rashika, you said you're following two. Is there any particular difficulties with any principle? You don't have to say it if you don't want to speak about it, but if you speak about it, maybe we can help you.
It's just that the one is no gambling, isn't it? But I do play Ludo and all that with kids. And
Or
all.
you playing the lottery?
No, not lottery.
No, what you playing?
Cryptocurrency.
Oh, you playing cryptocurrency. You are very good, because actually that is gambling. And stock market is bank gambling as well. Not as obvious gambling like playing the lottery or playing for money with cards or something like that. But it's speculation and gambling. Whatever comes to us by Krishna's mercy, that comes, and what not, that doesn't. So we're depending on Krishna. Okay,
what if there's some prize draws? You know, sometimes that you get a free entrance into a prize draw and you get tempted just to write in, just in case. It's a chance if you win or lose. It's like a prize draw, not necessarily gambling on our part. Would that be acceptable, or is that condemned also?
These are all the borderline questions. Very interesting. If you enter into a prize draw, I would probably be liberal on that and would say, well, so be it.
And even sometimes there's money going into like these house price lotteries, or you know,
yes.
And then half the money. I normally have entered several of them, but in the fact that money is actually donated to a charity.
Well, the National Lottery, they also justify their existence by giving some donation, even to Bhaktivedanta Manor or even the Granby Street Temple. They have got some lottery money. So people justify like that. I play the lottery because it helps charity. But that's not their motivation, isn't it? It's not they're playing the lottery to help charity. They could help charity directly. They're playing the lottery because they're greedy after money. That's a very strong point. Let's retract that, because they want to win.
There are charities for dogs and cats, animal charities for general stuff. That's what the type of places I have often given to, where it's actually donating to the cats and dogs. So the chances are very minimal whether you're going to win anything anyway.
Have you ever won anything?
No.
Yeah, here you go. Here you go. I mean,
or sometimes just £5 or £10. That's it. After about a year or something.
Same with the lottery. Same with the lottery. I tell you a story, a true story. It goes a long time back to Thoresby Street. Vashana, you may remember the Thoresby Street Temple in Leicester, 20 years back and more. So there was one gentleman, Indian gentleman, he said he's playing the lottery. And he said, if I win the lottery, 50% I will give to the temple. A bold statement, right? 50%. So he expected to get some blessings. Well, we didn't give the blessings, but that was his justification. Maybe even sincere. At the time, 50% I give to the temple. And he actually won. 1 million or a few million. He actually won. And devotees approached him. What did this rascal say? Oh, never said anything like that. Here you go. Here you go. The greed has taken over, proclaiming, I'll give 50% of any lottery win to the temple. And when he actually wins, he says, oh, I never said anything like that. So here we go. So this is obvious, clear gambling. If Krishna gives you, or let's say, if Krishna gave me 6 numbers plus a bonus or whatever it is called, and clearly directed me, play the lottery, and you can open a farm community or whatever, I would do it. But it has to be the right numbers. If you don't win, then Krishna didn't give you these numbers. If Krishna gives you the 6 numbers and the bonus point, then you will win 100%. And if you don't win, it was just an illusion. Don't do it. Amit, are you playing the lottery?
No, not directly, but I'm a member of a syndicate, which I've been a member for a long time, which I forgot about. But I don't play.
You forgot about it. Hare Krishna. Yes. Yes. I mean, the point in gambling is that it's addictive. We are so much, and we know all people who gamble. Some people gamble on the horses, and other people on the lottery, and other people, I see many people who doing the scratch cards in the supermarket on the customer service till and or in shops, they're doing the scratch cards. And in fact, once I was in the shop and waited for, I needed to return an item on was a Sainsbury or whatever, customer service desk. And there was a man in front of me, a scratch card, he won. He won something. He won a 5 or a 10. And he wasn't particularly looking any happy or whatever. It's a small amount. So he won. He scratched it right in the present and he won. And the lady gave him £5 or £10, whatever it was. And then he said, okay, I buy some more tickets. So I made the remark, I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I said, you won and you lost. And so that is addiction, right? It's a greed behind that. This is not good for our character. If you're a member of a syndicate and you forgot about it, that's maybe one thing. But if you go every week, you're buying a ticket, you win something, and that winning, you invest back into ticket because you want to win more and more and more. And that's a typical example of someone gets £1,000, he wants £2,000. And if someone gets 500,000, he wants $1 million. And if one gets $1 million, he wants 2 million. So never, ever satisfied. And that is breaking that principle and is actually a sinful action. So we have to be careful. Rashika, is there any other principle you're struggling with? You are happy to talk about or not? If you're not, then not. Okay. We leave it like that. And we stop here with a quiz. And I stop my share.
There is maybe something outside of what you're talking, but there is one aspect of, like I kind of think to myself, how true can it be? It's the eating of garlic and onion. Because a part of me thinks that it is such a natural element. I understand that onions, when it's raw state, can be quite potent and, they make your eyes water. But, sometimes, it's, if you cook it, it's, when it's been cooked, it kind of softens up. And also garlic, there is some kind of like health properties, I know too much garlic is bad for you. I do understand that. But, there is kind of an indication that it can be sometimes good for people with heart. So that's the one which, I kind of find hard to understand, how something.
Yes. Okay.
You want me to?
You want me to talk a bit about that? Yes. We have talked about it if you want to. Yes, we have talked about this before. So it's not, and I think you brought it up. I do remember that, but we'll talk about it again. And then we talk about the caffeine of Rashika you mentioned. So the argument that onion and garlic, first of all, let me say, to eat onion or garlic is not on the level of eating meat. Eating meat is an absolutely no. We don't want to involve with killing animals because we know we involved in eating meat, in the killing of animals. A person who raises animals, let's say a farmer raises a cow for slaughter. So then he sells that cow. The person who buys that cow, the person who slaughters that cow, the person who is selling the meat of that cow, the person who's buying that meat, the person who's cooking that meat, and the person who's serving that meat, and the person who's eating that meat. They equally share in the sinful reaction of killing a cow. That's a big, that is statement from Shastra. So, what I'm trying to say, eating onion and garlic is not on that level. There have been occasions, exceptional occasions. As Vaishnavas, we don't eat onion and garlic. Why? We don't eat onion and garlic because Krishna doesn't eat onion and garlic. And we cannot offer onion and garlic to Krishna. Don't ask me why Krishna doesn't eat onion and garlic. You have to ask Krishna why he doesn't like onion and garlic. And onion and garlic is so nice. Why Krishna don't you? He doesn't. So, and we know also well when Krishna says, anyone who does not offer his food in sacrifice is verily eating sin. Now, that's an important verse. It's not onion and garlic, it's anything. It's a pizza in the restaurant, or it's this and that. If we don't offer our food to Krishna in a simple way of remembering Krishna when we have some food, and we may even silently saying the Hare Krishna mantra, even once, thrice would be better, 3 times. Also full offering prayers, Namo Om Vishnu Padaya, Namaste, Namo Mahavedanyaya, Namo Brahmanya Devaya, the 4 mantras. So it's important, and it shouldn't be seen lightly. Krishna is very clearly saying in Bhagavad Gita, if someone doesn't offer his food to me, he will get sinful reaction. Do we want sinful reaction? No, we don't want. Can we counteract sinful reaction with some pious actions and good actions? No, we get the result of both. So if we don't want to suffer, sinful reaction means, sinful activities means suffering. A pious activity means happiness, enjoyment. So we want to avoid suffering. So we have to offer our food. But onion and garlic cannot be offered. So that's the main argument. There are other arguments which are on the material level, like garlic can be a medical. If garlic is taken as a medicine in certain circumstances, you might be able to take the garlic as a medicine. But to have it every day for every meal throughout your whole lifetime, that's not a medicine anymore. That's just a habit. Same with onion. So garlic, we know from the medical point of view, it kills bacteria. And therefore, it's a kind of an antibiotic in a sense. But it kills all bacteria, the good ones and the bad ones. So that is not that a good idea. So, but there's a whole article I will send you, Amit. Why no onion and garlic? But the main point from the spiritual perspective is we cannot offer it to Krishna. And anything we eat not offered to Krishna has a karmic, a sinful reaction to it. That's a straightforward, simple answer. And the argument, well, what's wrong with it? It's a plant. It's a herb. But then where you take that? The marijuana is also a plant. It's also a herb. So people justify like that. Oh, I'll smoke marijuana. What's wrong with it? It's just a herb. Well, it is a herb, yes. But it goes against intoxication. And not offering our food gives us a sinful reaction. Gives us a sinful karma. We have to suffer for it. But there are exceptions. One exception for any medical reason, you may take some garlic pills or even raw garlic or cooked garlic for specific purpose, for curing something which is not right with the body. That may be possible. And there are other considerations. I'll tell you a story where Srila Prabhupada and a group of disciples, of devotees, have been invited in India at a live member's house. They stayed there for a few days. And the family, they were very happy, and they served the devotees and Srila Prabhupada, and they cooked nice food stuff and like that. And so regularly they had a meal, but after a few days, devotees realized there was onion in the raita, right? Suddenly, at the beginning, not suddenly, onion in the raita appeared. And then they said, Srila Prabhupada, there are onions in the raita. Srila Prabhupada said, I don't see any onions. the host people were there around and said, Srila Prabhupada, there is onion in the raita. And Srila Prabhupada said, ignore for now. We are their guest. But said again, that is a very specific. So Srila Prabhupada ate some onion. Yeah, it's not kind of in any circumstance. No, it's according to time, place, and circumstance also. But it shouldn't be excuse for constantly eating onion and garlic on whatever excuse. That was a specific. So we're invited by the family, and they didn't want, and Srila Prabhupada didn't want to upset the family, so he accepted the raita with the onion. So he would have never accepted the meat. So it's not on the same level. So if that happens in some specific circumstances, we may take the onion. I had, my own story. Whenever I have been going to Germany for my mother's birthday, once a year, over so many years. Now for the last 2 years I haven't been because of the pandemic. So then in Germany, it's not like England. It is very difficult to find something vegetarian. They're all meat and ham eaters, very much so, much more than here. Here in England, there are lots of vegetarians and vegans also. Now the younger generation, they're taking to veganism in Germany also. But I mean, over so many, the traditional family, there's always meat, always meat. So we went to a restaurant on my mother's birthday, and that is the only time when we went to a restaurant. And that's the only time I have been in a restaurant. I've never go to a restaurant. Why should I eat in a restaurant? Don't know who is cooking all the food stuff, and people, sinful people, they're cooking, and they're cooking the karma into that food. And so restaurants should be avoided. So what to do? Then eventually I ended up, the only eatable dish was pizza with some onion. Of course, the onion had to be there. So I picked out the onion as good as I could, but I couldn't pick up all of them. So I ate some onion as well. So that is just a little story. And even from the point of view in my garden, allotment, there is growing some chive. Chive is goes to the onion family, and is strong like onion. And as a child, I liked that sometimes, or I was used to that. That my mother made bread with butter, put some cheese, fermented cheese on top of it, and then put a bit of chive and a bit of salt. It was quite nice. So I thought, let me try. Oh, I don't remember how that tastes. So I took a little bit, really a tiny little bit of that chive and ate it and chewed it. Actually, it gave me a stomach upset. I would have never expected that. It gave me, from that little piece of chive, I got a stomach upset for a few hours. It just didn't. If you, for 40 years, you don't eat onion and garlic, don't expect you can digest it very nicely. So the point of all of that is, let's find ways of getting away from onion and garlic, and we can offer all our food to the Lord. As difficult it may be. From the Indian background, I know it can be very, very difficult. You're brought up with onion and garlic from small childhood, and then you're supposed to change a habit. It can be done, and it should eventually be done. It's not one of the 4 regulative principles. No meat, no fish, no eggs, no gambling, no illicit sexual connection, no intoxication, no onion and garlic. No, it doesn't say it anywhere. So it's a milder offense, but we cannot offer it to Krishna, and we'll get a reaction for it. Karma, bad karma, not good ones. So we should consider. So let's just a few words on caffeine. That is very rare. Someone from an Indian background struggles with caffeine. Most people struggle with caffeine in tea. Of course, it's actually not caffeine, it's tein. Tein. But generally, it is known as caffeine. Rashika, are you drinking tea or coffee?
Tea.
Tea, so you call it caffeine, which is not wrong. Yes. Do you know who made all India addicted to tea? Because everybody in India is addicted to tea. Everybody's addicted to tea. You go on the train, they're going through chai, chai, chai. Who?
I know the answer to this.
Okay, what's the answer?
Let Rashika want to answer the question, or should I?
No, I don't know.
Okay, it's the British.
Yes, the Britishers. Prabhupada would say the Britishers. The
Whenever you drink
Britishers.
tea, they got the tea and circulated it and made it bring the tea.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Rashika, you're not the only one who struggles with tea. We have someone else struggling with tea, but going to decaffeinated tea and saying that's not the same, isn't it?
Yes, I have decaffeinated tea and coffee.
You have?
Yeah, I have decaffeinated tea and coffee.
Okay, that is a step in between, huh? So I would advise that, Rashika, you just take decaffeinated.
I have decaffeinated as well, Prabhu.
Okay, here you go.
I also,
here you
just
go.
One thing as well, let you know about tea. The recyclable, what do you call it? The tea that you can get, it's disposable. You have to get try to get the ones which are like the more recent ones now. They're biodegradable ones.
The tea bags. You're speaking about the tea bags?
The tea bags themselves, yeah. Because previously they used to put plastic inside the tea bags.
Yes.
They never used to degrade. Now, so they're doing biodegradable ones now, which do.
What's they made now? What's they made of now?
I'm not quite sure. I think they avoid putting plastic in it. And the way to tell is that if you tear the bag, it should just tear easily. Before, you used to tug it. It never used to tear. And with tea, if you want to dispose of it, you can dispose of it. If you put it onto the ground, the insects and the creatures, the ground, it becomes a fertilizer. So it's a better way.
Put in your compost.
Compost, yeah.
We should all have a compost at home. I do have, at least. I have a compost, but because I have a garden, so it's a cycle. Huh? And I drink also tea, but I drink herbal tea, peppermint, ginger lemon, some Ayurvedic tea, and these are very nice. Chamomile sometimes, and there is a whole range of herbal tea, which are completely okay. That's the first thing in the morning. Huh? I make a cup of tea, of herbal tea, either sometimes with a little bit of honey and sometimes with nothing, and sometimes with a lot of honey. Hare Krishna. So that is a way of going from tea to decaffeinated tea, because the intoxicant is not the tea, it's a caffeine or tein, technically, but we say caffeine. That is a caffeine inside the tea. That is an intoxication. And I have seen a gentleman in Germany, also long 50 years ago, on his work. I was with him at his work. He was a laboratory guy, assistant. So he was addicted not to tea, he was addicted to coffee. In Germany, it's more the coffee. English is a tea. So when he didn't have his coffee at a particular time, his hands were actually shaking. He started to shaking uncontrollably. He was very addicted, uncontrollably. And then he had to go out. He drank his coffee, and when he came back, he was calm again. So it's an intoxication. It's a very strong, and it's addictive as well. Even so, we say, oh, no, I not get addicted. So if you don't get addicted, stop it. From one moment to the next. No, I can't do that. So yes, it's addictive. So try to get to the decaf and just go to the herbal. Someone gave me recently some green tea thinking it's herbal tea. No, green tea has also caffeine. It's not only the black tea, it's the same tea, just it is not fermented. So the tea leaves fermented become black. And unfermented, it's green tea. And people say that's more healthy and like that, but it's tea and it has caffeine inside. So that is not too bad, Rashika. Struggling with these two things. That can be overcome quite easily. Other devotees have gone this journey, so no problem. But you should endeavor with little steps in the right direction. Decaf is a step. Do you, Vaishana Mataji, what is it? Is it, I don't even know anymore how tea or coffee tastes. It has just such a long time, I don't know. Nor did I know how this chive tastes, and it gave me such a bad reaction. So, do you like that taste of the tea?
Yes, I do. I make Indian tea, which is normally with spices, which has cinnamon and ginger and elaichi.
Oh, that's very nice. I have that too. It's a powder.
Yeah, it's just with more powder. Then I have more of the powder with the milk and the water than the tea. The tea bag is only like one or half a tea bag.
Okay.
It just brings out the flavor. But basically, it's the masala, which is what we crave, which we enjoy. Which I enjoy.
Why don't you just take masala only without the tea?
Well, sometimes, yes. Sometimes I just boil the milk and have the masala in the milk, you know.
Oh, you put, I never, in my herbal tea, I never put milk inside. But I do remember as a child or a bit older boy, parents made also tea. I got conditioned from small childhood. We got tea, black tea, but for the children with lots of milk.
Yeah, we've been having it since childhood. So, I try to cut down just having it once or twice a day. That's it. Or sometimes if I'm out, otherwise it's 3-4 times a day. People are having it. And even when we were in the hospitals, we had English tea and it would come around every 2 hours. I was surprised,
Yeah. Tea time.
Right.
Okay.
If I just a quick question while we're finishing off. Saturday will be the first, won't it? The new year. I presume lots of people will be celebrating 31st night or that. I was thinking if I don't know, Saturday I could make some prasad for the Lords. If anybody wants to eat, then I can make some. It'd be a very simple meal. But I was thinking of making some if you could collect. But I presume everybody else will be, I don't know whether they're partying or...
Okay, how can we party in the middle of a pandemic? Very difficult,
well,
even though
we
the
are
government...
not going to meet up. I just met with my brother on the Christmas day just for a couple of hours. And that was only 2-3 people, that was all. But we've decided not to have a get together. So I'll be home. So I thought I would like to, why not cook for the Lords instead and yourself?
Okay,
so
that's a very nice thought, indeed. And if Rashika or Amit, indeed, you ever in the future want to cook something, nice, vegetarian, of course, fully, vegetarian household, vegetarian pots and like that, then you're most welcome, and we could make arrangements. I don't know where you live, but that can be delivered or picked up, or that's all possible. But Vaishana Mataji, that is very nice. We can do that. Now, let me ask actually the question. Can you come, Rashika, to everyone? Yes, would love to. I thought that you would love to. That's why I'm saying that. Because... Matajis usually like to cook. And it's an engagement in devotional service, and it will help you in your Krishna consciousness, and you get all the blessings, not only from the Lord, you get the blessings of the devotees as well. So it's a very nice thing to do. And we happily to accept that. So we can make arrangements. Now let me ask the important question. Amit, will you be able to come on Saturday, the 1st of January? Or you are partying all through the night till next midday?
No,
Or who knows?
Yeah, no, I'm just working a bit late this week, Prabhu, at the football match. After the game, I'm just working a bit late.
There is a game on the 1st of January?
Yeah.
Oh, that's surprising.
New Year's Day.
A New Year's game in Leicester?
Yes, just a home game. I mean, last week I went away for the first time, but
Yes, I know.
home games. And then I'm not quite sure what time I'll get back.
Any idea? If you're back, would you?
We might be a bit after 8 o'clock. It might even be about 9 o'clock. I'll come back.
Right. If you would be back by 8 o'clock, you could still join for a little bit.
Yes. Okay. I'll try to do. I'll take my headphones with me. So I'll try to join while I'm working there, and maybe I can join.
But that would be nice. Rather than standing around there, you just have your headphones on and you have your mobile in your pocket, and you're a quiet participant. Easy, yes. How was the away game? Was it nice experience?
It was good, bro. It was good. It was, like, it's one thing, it's like, football. I've always been a keen footballer. Like Krishna had his flute.
Have you been an active footballer playing or just a spectator?
No, I was always active. I love football from a young age. I wanted to be a footballer, and I used to play a lot.
I can see that you're still attached to the football now as a steward.
Krishna had his flute. Yeah, my flute was my football.
Yes, I can see you like that.
Well, it was fun. It was good last week. Yeah. Maybe I want to detach myself. I think it's sometimes bad with football to get attached too much because it's only a game.
People get very much attached. They're getting completely frustrated if the team loses. They're even fighting with other teams. I mean, it can be very intense. Anyway, let's not talk about football. What about you, Varshana? Will you be able to come next Saturday?
Yeah, I'll be home, but like I say, I'll be there. Yes, I'm not.
What about you, Rashika? Will you be able to come next Saturday, or you're partying for 2 days, day and night?
No, I'm at home only.
Yes, I'm also at home. So you're coming next Saturday?
Yes.
Yes. So okay. So I have a feeling most others will also come, and because what we're going to do, it's not on the 31st evening on Sylvester Day. It's the New Year's Day. So let's start the New Year, the 1st of January. Let's start it with Krishna. Isn't that nice? Start the New Year with Krishna. Then we'll get the blessings of Krishna throughout the year. I mean, you couldn't start a year better than with Krishna.
Yeah, right, sorry, I have to go. My battery's going. It's on.
Yeah, we're all going. All our batteries are going as well. Hare Krishna.
Sorry.
Thank you very much.
So
Hare Krishna.
About Saturday.
Yes, you cook, and I'm happy to pick something up. But are you asking me to distribute it to everybody else?
No, I don't know. That's what my question was. Does anybody want me to cook? Because that was my question. I can cook a little bit more, but it will be a very simple menu.
We will like you to cook.
I'm not going out to, going into town. Just be very simple.
I know. We like you to cook. Anyway, from my side, I can pick up something from you that is not too much a problem. But
Okay.
how we will get anything to Amit and Rashika?
I don't know.
Rashmi.
That's what I'm saying. If they can keep in touch with me, or give me a text, that will be fine. Right, I have to go now. It's going to go.
Okay.
I'm going.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
We'll think about that. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Krishna. I'll let you know. Okay, Hare Krishna, everybody.
Yes, Hare Krishna, Rashika, Hare Krishna, Amit. Very nice to have you here. See you on Saturday. Haribol.
Okay, Hare Krishna.